What is up, guys? It is Robert of Gaming with Me, and welcome to a new video talking about, as you can see from the title, games that were really damn hard as a kid. You know those games, and maybe, to be fair, maybe you are a child right now, you're young, and by childhood right now, I'm actually meaning by like 9 and under. I'm not talking about like 10 and above, because 10 and above, you kind of get a little bit more skills, and not that they're still pretty hard, some of them, but 9 and below, at least for me, I was like mentally challenged when it came to playing a lot of games. So I thought I'd talk and list some of the games that I would play, again, like 9 and younger. I would play way more games beyond that point, but like in terms of 9 and below, in terms of my age, I was very sparse in terms of what I played, and I wasn't that big of a gamer, but I did enjoy playing video games, but I just, again, was not good at them in the slightest, and I didn't take them nearly as seriously as I would even, again, 9, 10. Basically what I'm saying, these games are basically when I was like 5. So we'll go in chronological order, assuming it's chronological order. I don't really remember every single day of my life, but basically I would play a lot my Sega Genesis, an obvious hand-me-down. I didn't buy a Sega Genesis when I was 5. That would have been out for what, 15 years or something by then. I'm not too sure, but basically I was like, damn, these games are fucking hard. And to be honest, if I played them now, they're probably still hard. The following games I'm going to show you, I don't think I've actually passed even the second level. Seriously, I was looking up on YouTube playthroughs of these games, which was pretty funny because I would actually remember the menu music for a lot of them because they're actually pretty damn good. But I just couldn't beat even the first level. I would mostly have tough time with, and I would easily give up on all these games. And I never beat any of them. None of them I beat. But I do still own them. And those following games are Aladdin for the Sega Genesis. Aladdin, SpiderMan. I don't know if they're quite in Jurassic Park. Taz and the Escape from Mars. I don't know where else I'm going to put it. I don't got a lot of space. I don't know where I'm packing. The Adventures of Batman and Robin. Tiny Toons Adventures, Buster's Hidden Treasure, Toe Jam and Earl, Panic and Funkotron, Toy Story, and X-Men. Those following games, and also I'd put Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in there. I just don't have it around me, but it's also because later on I played it more later on when I was older and I was able to actually get a grasp of some of it. But basically, those games were fucking ridiculously hard, and they're like 3 hours max. I was looking it up, like, again, I was looking at playthroughs for all of them, and I was just like, what? You could beat this game in 30 minutes? And I would, again, years of playing them, I would put them back in the Sega Genesis. I'd give it a few rounds, and a few rounds I did, because I would get my ass kicked every time on the first level for all those games, but I still had a lot of fun with them. I remember, again, the Adventures of Batman and Robin, that theme song was so good, and it blew my mind. It actually is pretty good for the Sega Genesis. Like, visually, it's actually pretty surprising. Stuff like Spider-Man actually freaked me out as a kid, and I actually had a nightmare once of Spider-Man, and I was like, at one point, again, this is very young, has to be 5 years old max. I was so terrified of Spider-Man, the man Spider-Man, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I was freaked out, and I didn't want anyone to play the Sega Genesis game. And then when one of my cousins came to play the game, he booted up the game, and I started like crying because of how terrified I was, because I had a nightmare of Spider-Man. Of all things, Spider-Man, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wow. The Tiny Toons Adventure game, I remember again, I went to saw a playthrough of it, and I think I got to like the third level. That was probably the most, and I do remember playing in my grandma's house. And I remember getting to that stage in the woods or something like that, and I was like, holy shit. I told my sister, I'm like, I didn't say shit, but I was like, oh my god, look, I'm at the woods, I'm on a new level. And my mind was blown, and I was like, holy crap, I'm actually on a level that's not the first one. And then I died, and then I never got there again, but I made it once. And it would be interesting to go back to actually play those to see how I kind of would be nowadays. As for any other ones, later on I played Spider-Man 2, and I fucking was trash at that. I remember, to be fair, I didn't really try. I just, me and my sister would just fuck around playing this game. Like, we play on the original Xbox, but then that original Xbox actually broke one day. And in Spider-Man 2, we just fuck around, go around in the city. That was the best part about that game. And I just never beat it, and it's actually on the backlog. Hopefully one day beat it and redeem some of my childhood in terms of that. And the same goes with Sonic Heroes. That game I was genuinely just horrible at. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've probably played about 3 stages of that. I don't know, and I just was horrible at it. I know now I'd be able to beat it, but like, holy fuck, my capabilities at playing games was garbage. And talk about the game that really got me again into gaming, that really stepped up my level in gaming, was Super Mario Galaxy. I had a struggle with the first Bowser battle in the fountain. I was so garbage at that Bowser battle where I had to have someone beat it for me. Yeah, Super Mario Galaxy. That means I was at least 8. Jesus! I don't think I was 9. I think I was 8. Maybe 9, but I think 8 when that happened. And now here we are. I could 100% that game, no fucking problem. So, you get better as time goes on. And I also try to say that kind of proves that, I mean, at least for me, kids and games, they don't mix too well. And I'm talking about really young kids. Really young kids, they usually really suck at games. And that's why, I feel like it's a lot better to appreciate games when you're older. But yeah, even though I was garbage at games, I still had fond memories with all these games. And, maybe one day I'll go back and play some of these Sega Genesis ones and beat them. Probably not. Some of them, I think so. Some of them I'd like to actually go back and try. But all of them were very short and very tough. But I think it was for that time. Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, all that kind of stuff. Fucking short games, but really damn hard. And I think it was because of how expensive they were, and they'd want people to keep replaying it over and over and over again, so you get kind of your money's worth. And I can get that, but also I think it's also unfair. A lot of these games are kind of like just unfair. Like, I feel like if you built them with the modern physics and shit, I feel like they'd be a lot easier. Maybe I'm wrong, but it'd be interesting to see. It does blow my mind when I hear some kids beat like Breath of the Wild or fucking Odyssey or something. It blows my mind where I'm like, damn, if I was 7, I could not do that for the life of me. So I give kudos to any younger gamers that can actually beat those games, because it blows my mind. And so yeah, I think that was a pretty cool topic to talk about. Some kind of reminiscing of older games that I used to play and as a kid. And again, this is like real kid. Because to be fair, if I talked about as a kid when I made this channel, I would have been only 14, and I was still a kid then. I could have easily been saying the current games that I was playing during the time, but I was already getting good at games. It's a completely different mindset from 8 years old and younger, stuff like that. That kind of game, those kind of games you played, probably was a huge difference in terms of how you approached a game. And it's kind of the learning steps to actually becoming something in terms of the gaming field. I think it depends on how you grow up on games, and that's why games come naturally to me, same like it comes naturally to you very likely, unless you're like someone like my mom that just played Super Mario Maker 2, one of my easy levels, and it took her out like an hour to beat one level, and it's just interesting because if she grew up on games, I'm sure it would have been no problem. But it's just, I think it's interesting. I guess capability of playing and age for games. I think it's pretty interesting. So let me know down in the comments below what's some games that you played as a kid. And I'm talking about very young, not like 11, but like, 8 and below. What's the games you would play back then, and how hard were they for you? Or maybe they weren't hard at all. And if you are like 8 or 7, what game are you currently playing? You having a struggle with it? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it, because I know I got some younger fans too. So yeah, let me know. I'll see you guys next time. If you didn't know I make music, you should check it out. I got a remix coming out pretty soon, so get prepared for that probably next week. And so yeah, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
I wish upon a star. I wish, but know that shit ain't going far. I wish I had no insecurities. I wish I had more empathy. I wish I cared more about my own goddamn family. I hate the fact I cry more to a CGI ape more than when I see my own